Hi, thanks so much for talking to me. I appreciate it. I very much enjoyed the film. I watched it last night.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So can you talk a bit about your inspiration for the film?
The movie started as a love letter to my biological parents. I wanted to talk about my own adoption story. I was born during or right after the Romanian Revolution, and this very young couple found themselves pregnant with the world totally on fire in this kind of
Mhm.
unprecedented situation. And they were 19 years old, and being I was 27 or 28 when I started writing the script, and I just had a little bit more perspective on how young 19
Right.
actually is for the first time. Um, so it was always I want to tell that story, and I want to kind of make something for them. But I want to do it in a way that is going to be fun and entertaining and kind of throws down the gauntlet for the kind of filmmaker that I want to be. And that's how it was born.
Right. Were there any other films or anything that kind of inspired the look of the film?
The look. Certainly, Children of Men and Terminator and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Those were three movies that were I'm kind of always in the rotation as touchstones of how the camera moves, point of view driven. Kind of the approach. A big part for me though was I want this thing to be colorful, and you've seen over the last 20 years as color has kind of drained out of
Right.
movies, and now we're starting to have this resurgence where, oh, there it is. And I think it's an easy choice to make a kind of drab apocalyptic thing and make it all gray. And
Right.
I really wanted to shoot this where we'd be in the woods with green and really lean into the green and the orange of the fires. And so a big part of it for me was just let's make this pop.
All right. So can you talk a bit about the casting? I assume that you were, I don't know if you were the only one involved, but can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was always I needed a young couple. I needed people who could play 19, and Chloe came on very early in the process. And Matt Reeves is a producer on the movie, and he had worked with Chloe 10 or 11 years ago on his film Let Me In. And so there was a relationship there. And Chloe was, over the last 7 years has transitioned from playing roles where she's a girl into now like she's a young woman. And so being able to play a pregnant woman for her was kind of like, okay, yeah, let's go do that. That'll be a new way for people to see me. Um and Algie, I was just a really really big fan of his. I loved his work in Euphoria, and just kind of thought, that character needs to have a real sensitive soul and really have heart, and
Mm.
uh be somebody that you feel like, yeah, I that could be a good first boyfriend. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
survive the apocalypse with him. And having that push pull of, he's not the guy that you would necessarily go, yep, like we're gonna win. And Algie maybe, but Sam not so much. And he
Yeah.
really brought a bit of sensitivity that was really necessary for that character. And then working with Raul Castillo, who, he was also in a movie that I wrote called Little Fish, and he was just so good in that getting able to come and bring him into this film was a lot of fun.
Right. I just want to ask if you could talk quickly about what, because I don't know, I was curious when she throws the photo away and actually burns the first one. What was does that represent? I guess is what I'm asking, because I was surprised that she even lit that one.
Yeah, I mean, she's looking for the strength to move on. And there's a part of her, for me, my interpretation is that there's this moment of, I have to compartmentalize and lock all of this stuff away because it's so painful. And I mean, then she has another thought. And so,
Yeah.
it is that push pull of when you feel pain, when you go through something, you want to avoid the pain, and you go, well, I never want to think about this again. But we're people, we're sensitive, we're emotional, and we all have to live with our scars.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and I enjoyed the film.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.